1991, a home in BF Homes, Parañaque. A mother and her two daughters, Estrelita, Carmela, and Jennifer Visconde, are murdered in a crime so brutal it shakes the nation. The only witness, a 14-year-old housemaid who survives by hiding in a cabinet. For 19 years, Lauro Visconde, the grieving father, becomes a fixture in courtrooms, holding photos of his family, demanding justice. When the verdict finally comes in 2010, he doesn't celebrate, he weeps. "This won't bring them back," he says, "but at least now the world knows what they did." Why did 19 years of fighting matter? Because justice isn't just about punishment, it's about acknowledgement, the unbearable weight of a debt left unpaid. That weight is universal, from the streets of Manila to the courts of Oslo. We all feel it. Today, we're asking, why does wrongdoing create this moral debt? And how do we settle it? You're listening to Seeker of the Word, where we explore the truth of Scripture together. I'm grateful you're here, and if you're seeking deeper understanding, you're not alone. Welcome back to Seeker of the Word. I'm Mike, and in today's episode, we're going to confront a universal feeling, not guilt, but justice. That moment when someone does something wrong, and something inside you says, "That's not right." Someone has to make it right. But where does that come from? What's the root of this deep desire, not just for fairness, but for payment? We don't just know something is wrong. We feel that a cost has been incurred. Whether it's betrayal, theft, or harm, our language reveals something. They owe me an apology. I want justice. That cannot go unpunished. These aren't just emotional outbursts. They are not mere instinct or personal preference. They reflect something deeper, a kind of moral economy. Think of it like a ledger, not of money, but of meaning. Every wrong committed seems to register as a kind of debt, an imbalance, an open tab. When someone lies to you, they don't just hurt you, they've taken something: your trust, your peace, your sense of security. And what do we say in response? They owe me the truth. They need to make it right. They should pay for what they did. We speak as if there's been a transaction, something stolen or broken, and now it must be restored or repaid. That is what we call moral debt. It's not found in a spreadsheet, but it feels just as real. It's an invisible weight pressing on relationships, families, societies. And what's striking is we don't have to be taught this feeling. Even young children cry out, "That's not fair." Even animals protest when they are mistreated. But humans? We go further. We start looking for repayment, for someone to take responsibility, to carry the cost. That is the essence of moral debt. The intuitive sense that when wrong is done, someone has to bear the consequence. And until that happens, something remains unsettled. Evolutionary psychology suggests our desire for justice evolved to enforce social norms. It helps maintain group cohesion. But here's the question: why do we want justice even when it does not benefit us? Why are we bothered when a stranger is harmed? Why do people donate to victims they've never met? Why do we root for the underdog or cry at court verdicts? These do not directly benefit survival. If anything, they cost us time, energy, and emotion. Restorative justice systems like those used in New Zealand or indigenous communities are built on the belief that wrongdoing creates relational debt, and this debt can be repaid, not just punished. Even cancel culture, for all its flaws, is driven by the same idea. Someone did wrong, they must pay, either by losing reputation, job, or platform. People are looking for atonement even without using that word. Let's take a quick cross-cultural tour. In Hebrew scripture, Exodus 22 demands thieves repay double what they stole, not for profit but for balance. Justice isn't abstract, it's measured in repayment. Islam teaches a system of proportional justice and compensation. A crime has consequences, but forgiveness is honored if the offended party chooses to let go of the claim. Hinduism introduces karma, not just mystical reward and punishment, but moral cause and effect across lifetimes. Harm creates imbalance that demands eventual rebalancing. In Buddhism, there's the principle of intentional karma. Even if justice is not immediate, the moral weight of action shapes one's future suffering or peace. Certain indigenous Filipino justice systems seek peace through reparative justice. If one clan wrongs another, peace is not restored until a sacrifice or a formal mediation is done. Justice is communal. Offense is never isolated. We've all felt it. When a friend betrays you, when a leader breaks trust, it's not just anger. It's like an invisible ledger opens and suddenly there's a debt. Bayaran mo ang ginawa mo, we say. Hindi tama yan. This isn't just Filipino. In Japan, they call it on, a moral debt that binds relationships. Even science confirms this. A 2009 Swiss study found people would pay their own money to punish strangers who acted unfairly, even if it cost them. No survival benefit, just raw, costly justice. So why? Because humans aren't just wired for revenge, we're wired for restoration. When that is denied, the debt lingers, like Lauro's 19-year wait. Each of these shows us that human societies are wired to resolve debt, to settle accounts. A friend once shared with me the story of his sister, Grace. She ran a small business and had a trusted bookkeeper. One day she found out that over several months, this employee had been siphoning money, hundreds of thousands of pesos. They lost inventory, cash flow, and client trust. The betrayal hurt more than the theft. When it came time to act, her friends pushed for legal charges. Let her rot in jail, one said. But Grace did not press charges. She let the woman go. Why would Grace do that? She said, I needed to stop carrying the burden. It didn't erase what she did, but I couldn't keep living inside that pain. That wasn't forgetting, it was costly. Grace paid the price of what someone else broke. She absorbed the debt. And that too is justice, restorative justice. On the flip side, I once knew a man named Vincent who was conned by a relative. He lost not just money, but reputation and peace of mind. He never forgave, and decades later it showed. He brought it up in every conversation. He would say, I hope karma gets him. He felt robbed, not just of money, but of closure. He needed someone to pay, but no one ever did. So, the debt just sat there in his heart, unresolved. We resonate with both stories because we know some things cannot be undone. Some debts cannot be paid back in cash, but still, we need payment. The pain of injustice doesn't go away on its own, so someone pays. The wrongdoer, society, or the victim who chooses to forgive. Loro Visconde carried his debt for 19 years. But what happens when someone chooses to forgive? In 2006, after a gunman killed 5 Amish schoolgirls, the community did the unthinkable. They comforted the killer's widow. They donated to his family. Forgiveness isn't a feeling, they said. It's a decision to stop paying interest on a debt. Yet, not all debts can be forgiven. I think of Vince, the man conned by his relative. Decades later, he still mutters, Sana magdusa siya. The debt lives in him. There are practically 2 paths. One chose to absorb the debt, the other couldn't. So, why do we feel someone must pay? Because we know deep down that wrong creates real debt. Not imaginary, not cultural, but real. And that debt has to be dealt with. That's why even when no one sees the crime, our hearts ache. Even when the legal system lets us down, when the guilty walk free or the punishment feels hollow, we still ache for something more. Because deep down, we don't just want punishment. We want the wrong answered. The scales need to be balanced and the debt to be paid. But what if this impulse, this ache for justice is not a flaw? What if it's part of how we were made? In the next episode, we'll explore what it means to pay for moral debt. Where does atonement come in? What do ancient cultures and modern hearts mean when they say, someone must pay? Until then, keep asking, keep seeking, and may your pursuit of justice lead you closer to the truth. Thank you for joining Seeker of the Word. Keep seeking, keep growing. See you next time.